please. We have a motion and support. Any deletions or corrections? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Duckham, Commissioner Pileski,
Yes.
Commissioner Willis,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Snell, Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have no special orders or public hearings. We've arrived at the first time for public comment. Public comment guidelines are each individual will state their name and have 3 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity and may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate nor answer questions at this time. Opportunity for public comment.
Good evening. My name is Diane Derby, and I live on M50 in Blackman Township. I've come before you tonight to discuss an item of my concern. I recently had a deer hit on the highway in front of my house. The dead deer ended up in my front yard. Being on a state highway and with many wooded areas near my house, I've had many deer hit around my yard in the past. It was a weekend, and with a Monday closure for the Juneteenth holiday, I waited to call JC Dot to ask them to remove the deer. When I finally reached JC Dot on Tuesday morning, I was quite surprised to discover that they no longer removed deer carcasses. Instead, they only moved dead deer off of the roadways. Through a series of phone calls, I learned the following. JC Dot suggested I throw lime on the deer and let it deteriorate naturally back into the earth. The DNR told me that each county could choose whether or not they want to remove animal carcasses. Some do, some don't. The only options they said I would have was to either remove the deer myself, or I could hire an animal nuisance control company to come remove the carcass for me. I couldn't remove the dead animal myself, and I had no one to help me with it. I also contacted Ray Snell, my county commissioner. He confirmed to me that the county no longer removes dead deer. My understanding is that this function is no longer supported by the county, and there's no money in the budget for the task. I searched the internet for local animal nuisance control companies. I found 4 in the Jackson area. One had a disconnected phone number. The other 3 I had to leave voice messages for. One never even called me back. The first one that called me back late Tuesday quoted me a charge of $599 to remove the deer. I said, "Are you kidding me?" "No, that's what they get." The second one called me back Wednesday morning, quoted me an amount of $235. That would be dependent on the state of the deterioration of the animal. Since we're now into 3 days after I discovered the deer in my yard, the amount might be substantially more. Ultimately, I was forced to pay $235 to have the carcass removed. It was a discounted rate, as the technician indicated. He should have charged me more, but when I told him the problems, miscommunications I had, he gave me their base rate. It took me longer to write the check for the gentleman than it took him to actually pick up the deer and put it in his truck. My concern over the situation
5 seconds, ma'am.
I have 2 big concerns. One is senior citizens and the expense. I was able to afford it, many people wouldn't. And the other is, why is it my responsibility? I live on a state highway, I did not hit the deer, I had no other options.
I'm afraid you're out of
I'm very
time, ma'am.
disappointed in your decision to cut the funds for this service, and thank you for listening to me.
Yes, ma'am. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Public comment is now closed. We have no special meetings of standing committees. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the June 20th meeting. Have a motion and support. Any corrections? Deletions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Duckham, Commissioner Pileski,
Yes.
Commissioner Willis, Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Snell, Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Entertain a motion for the consent agenda? We have a motion and support. Any items for removal? Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to remove item 9B, Airport Resolution in support of Zephyr Systems Incorporated.
We'll make that item Standing Committee General Government, item 14A. Chairman Duckham, are you aware of that now?
Mr. Chair, that's going to be public safety and transportation.
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Kennedy, are you aware of that now?
Yes, sir. I have it noted.
Thank you. Yes, it becomes 13A. Any other items for removal? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll? Thank you.
Commissioner Duckham. Commissioner Pileski,
Yes.
Commissioner Willis,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Snell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Standing Committee Public Safety and Transportation, chaired by Vice Chairman Corey Kennedy. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have the item that was removed from tonight's consent agenda, which is the airport resolution in support of Zephyr Systems Incorporated.
Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Chairman. At the committee meeting, I had asked for some additional information to be provided, particularly some safety information. 7 other areas in the nation have made the change that Zephyr is asking us to make. And I wanted to know the history, their safety history of these unmanned aircraft, being much heavier, flying at much higher altitude. I had asked to be informed of safety records. Have any safety records been produced?
At this time, they have not. I will ask the Administrator Controller's Office to produce those and make those available to commissioners in the interim, and we will review them the next time we have an airport item, sir. Do you have an answer correctly now? Commissioner, Administrator Overton.
I did meet with Juan, the airport manager, last Wednesday, the 12th, and I asked him, I said, what have you learned about this? And he had told me at that time that, as far as they can find, there are no accidents on these. They haven't had a long enough track record. There are no safety breaches or accidents involving these drones.
Yes, sir. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion and support. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Did I hear a no? Did I hear a no? Are you ready to post? We're ready to post? I'm a yes.
Commissioner Duckham? Motion passes
8197.
unanimously.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy.
That concludes the public safety and transportation business for tonight, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Standing Committee General Government, chaired by Commissioner Phil Duckham. Commissioner Duckham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have no business to conduct tonight.
Thank you, sir. Standing Committee Human Services chaired by Commissioner Earl Pileski. Commissioner Pileski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have Human Services Board appointments this evening. There are 3 openings for which we are going to request action on 2. The Sanitary Code Board of Appeals has a contractor alternate. The new term expires January 2027. The current member is Chris Krisenberry. He has applied and he is the committee recommendation.
Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Commissioner Pileski.
Thank you, sir. The next item is also in the Sanitary Code Board of Appeals, a public member. The new term expires January 2027. Current member is Jack Ripstra. He has applied and he is the committee recommendation.
Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Pileski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The final Sanitary Code Board of Appeals opening is an installer alternate. The term expires January of 2024. It is currently vacant. We had no applicants and therefore no recommendation to make this evening.
Thank you, sir. Does that complete action from your committee?
Unless there's a nomination from the floor on the opening, that concludes our business, sir.
Hearing none, thank you, Commissioner Pileski. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. We've arrived at public comment the second time. Public comment guidelines, each individual will state their name and have 2 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity and may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate nor answer questions at this time.
Peter Bournemouth, 142 West Pearl Street. 2 things. Want to remind all the voters in District 7 and 8, there is a mayor election coming up, August 8th, primary. There's 3 candidates. Please get out and vote for the candidate of your choice. And secondly, I understand that Administrator Overton is having his normal yearly review tonight in a closed session, of course, since it's a personnel matter. I want to give, Administrator Overton my support, and I hope that he has a successful review. Thank you.
Amy Hawkins, Concord, Pulaski Township. Thank you to each of you for your service. I know that this is not a ask questions and get responses, but I just want to throw a couple ideas out to you. One, I am so discouraged to come to these type of meetings and have basically nobody in the audience. I recognize what you guys do is extremely important. And when I consider that Jackson County has 160,000 people and that there's maybe a dozen in the audience, there should be 3 or 4 times this amount. So my question to you for your consideration is, what are you as commissioners doing to notify the community of these meetings? For example, in your local paper, on your social media, could you put out a plug? Now, I know as an elected leader, it's kind of hard because on one hand, empty seats mean happy customers in a way, but knowing some of you more than others with your heart for our nation and your heart for education, that people would be well-informed citizens, I think this would be an amazing opportunity for people to come and take part in the process and to hear what you all are talking about. So on that, I would also pose to you, would you ever consider doing like a county commissioner town hall? Something that is well organized, structured, but something that would give the whole county an opportunity to get to know each of you better, to hear your ideas and your vision for our county, to get some questions answered, and also I think citizens would benefit for understanding ways we can be a part of the solution. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
not intimidated by speaking to you, but a little intimidated by the sound system tonight. It's holding up very well so far. So for those of you who may not already be aware, a citizen of Jackson County, Mr. Hank Choate, who is a man of outstanding and impeccable personal character, was indicted today, along with 15 other Republicans across the state, by Dana Nessel's office for having questioned the extremely questionable results of the 2020 presidential election in Michigan, the improprieties of which and the irregularities which I can't even begin to address in a 2-minute comment. If you haven't seen 2000 Mules, please do so. You'll be enlightened. So I am simply asking that all elected Republican office holders in Jackson County, that you come out and vocally support Hank, financially support towards his legal defense, and be vocal in pushing back against what I consider an ugly, overt attempt at third world level political intimidation, which we are now seeing throughout the state of Michigan. Thank you.
Sir, can you give us your name, please?
William Hastings. I live in the city of Jackson.
Thanks, Bill. Any other public comment?
Marcy Jankovich, Summit Township. I would like to second what William Hastings had to say. I think all of us need to be concerned at the way ordinary, normal, it's all right to challenge an election process is being criminalized. This is wrong, and we need to stand up for it. I hope that you will, as our county commission, stand up for for Hank and for any Democrat who wants to challenge the election and say, I don't think it was right, I think there were things wrong. You ought to be able to bring those things to our government's attention without being indicted. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Public comment is now closed. We've arrived at commissioner comments. Commissioner Duckham.
Amy, this is to Amy and her concern. Most of the commissioners sitting up here tonight, I'm not sure all, but most commissioners attend township and village meetings every month, and we stay in touch with the people, and we might have 20 or people at some meetings, 5 at others, but they know where to find us, and they follow us, so that's my town hall. Thank you.
Any other? Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to bring to the board's attention and also the administrator, the Jackson County Planning Commission is having struggles meeting quorum because we have 2 members that I believe now, one is officially resigned. The other, we have not heard back from due to health issues. So I told that that I would speak to you all tonight, and hopefully by next month we can get 2 people appointed so that we don't have meetings canceled.
Thank you, sir.
And the second thing is on just a little update on the jail ad hoc committee. I know some of the commissioners came to last meeting. I feel the last meeting we had is the most productive one we've had so far. It's moving in a positive direction. The sheriff has definitely trimmed things to what he can trim, and it looks like lower requests than the former millage and be able to take care of the issues that we have. So moving in a positive direction. Hopefully we'll have something within the next couple of months to be presented to this commission. Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to let everyone to know today that I went to the Hazardous Waste Day out there at the MDOT. It was well attended. They had a lot of people working there. Quick, easy, cheap way to get rid of your hazardous materials. Any other questions, comments from commissioners? Hearing none. At
this time, in accordance with MCL 15.268, as a personnel matter to be discussed by the board, I entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
I have a motion and support. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
If I make a comment.
Yes, sir.
At the request of the employee.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Duckham,
Yes.
Commissioner Pileski,
Yes.
Commissioner Willis,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Snell, Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. We will adjourn to 6.